So you ready for me to take off?
Well, we don't have anybody attending yet. Oh, there they are. They're starting to trickle in now.
Okay. Well, just give me a cue. Give me a. Hey guys, we're going to take just a minute or two and let everybody else get on here, and then we'll kick this thing off. So thank you for joining. We'll be ready to kick off in about 2 minutes. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and kick this thing off. Thank you for joining. This is our remote user playbook for folks working at home, and our first session in a 3-part series is going to be on VDI with VMware Horizon. We've got an all-star team supporting us today, so I want to thank the guys that helped put this together and will be on the call with us. So our marketing liaison is Tori Run the Ball Moore. Thanks for putting this all together. She'll be having trivia and prizes at half point today's seminar. We got from VMware, Helen Akers, the Territory Account Manager for State and Local Government. We've got Tyler Harrelson, who's the End User Computing Specialist for VMware for the education space. We've got Joe Clark, who's the Advisex Director of Cloud Architecture. And Michael, I'm going to use my redneck card because I'm going to butcher your name, Michael Felicimo, who's the End User Computer Solutions Engineer. So he's going to be conducting a large part of this. So Tyler, I'm going to let you take over at this point, and we'll kick this thing off.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. Thank everybody for joining today. Again, my name is Tyler Harrelson, End User Computing Sales Specialist for VMware. I work in the Southeast Territory, mainly for state and local government accounts. And thanks everybody for joining again. And I'm going to go ahead and kick off a quick PowerPoint that we're going to go through, and I'll discuss the rest of the agenda here in just a moment. So bear with me. All right. I believe my screen is shared now. Tim, nod your head if you can see it. Excellent, excellent, cool. So VMware Horizon, our VDI solution at VMware, the modern platform for secure delivery of VDI and applications. Moving forward. So the agenda today is going to be the state of the desktop and app virtualization scene, not only in the U.S., but around the globe, as we've seen a global pandemic over the last year, as everybody I'm sure is tired of hearing about and ready to be over with, enabling the future-ready workforce and what we can do there. A Horizon demonstration given by Michael Felichismo, one of our excellent sales engineers here at VMware. After that, we're going to have some trivia surrounding some sort of college football questions and facts, and then also some Horizon questions as well. Project success stories after that, the what, when, and where, and why from the Advisex team. And then after we'll have a few minutes for questions if anybody has questions. So let's go ahead and get this started. So in 2019 and continuing on into 2020, we've seen a lot of emerging trends driving VDI and application growth. Of course, I mentioned already the remote workforce, and what we've seen over the last year is as far as having to allow employees to work remotely and enable them in a secure way to work remotely. Windows 7 going EOL, that's nothing new to anybody. But there's been a few challenges with Windows 10 management and where the future is going in regards to management there. Windows 10 is built more so as a mobile operating system, so a lot of different flexible management styles now, including what we can do with VDI. Mac and Chromebook enterprise readiness, so extending the solution out to not only Windows devices and various thin clients and other endpoints like that, but also giving the ability to use Horizon VDI on any sort of endpoint, having the agents ready for Mac or Chromebook, enabling employees to really work on any type of device. Desktop modernization, and again how desktops are being managed now, apart from just a heavy image. And then emerging delivery models, what we can do as far as hybrid solutions in the cloud, customer managed hybrid solutions, things of that nature. Okay, the role of IT and the journey to recovery. So, this whole thing kicked off, everybody's trying to slap a Band-Aid on, allowing their employees to go remote, work remote securely. What devices can we use? Just a scramble to have some sort of business continuity, right? Business continuity is obviously important despite, what's going on with the pandemic, what's going on with the economy, what's going on, with the presidential election, you name it. It doesn't matter. We still have to get on with it, if you will, and have that business continuity. So, as we move forward, us at VMware here, we're trying to get everybody in the mindset of having a digital workspace or going digital first, enabling their employees, again, to work remotely, but safely and securely and with ease, right? So VDI and applications are strategic to that new the new norm, right? It's strategic to business continuity, being able to work from home, having that secure remote access on any device, whether it's just a cell phone, a tablet, a laptop, a thin client, whatever it may be. Multiple deployment options. Do you need a SaaS-based solution? Do you have the bandwidth to manage it? What are your on-premise requirements? So multiple deployments options and teams here to help guide you through that. So at VMware, we've got multiple VDI and app deployment options to meet your needs. We've got customer managed options with Horizon. We've got the customer managed software-defined data center, Horizon on-premise, which is our bread and butter, allowing customers to manage it in their own environment, safe and securely. A lot of times you've got legacy equipment or applications that need your special touch. Horizon on Dell Technologies Cloud Platform, also a customer managed option. VMware managed or partner managed software-defined data center, Horizon and VMware Cloud on AWS, or Horizon on Azure VMware Solutions, Horizon on Google Cloud VMware Engine, and then Horizon on VMware Cloud Dell EMC. So multiple different options for you, depending on your preferred vendor, or what the price points are, or what works best for you as a customer. We also offer some options as desktop as a service, Horizon Cloud on Microsoft Azure, Horizon Cloud on IBM Cloud. So the outcomes there are obvious, right? You got your flexible options, it's streamlined management, and then, a lot of other options to scale in the future, even for backup and recovery. Horizon enabling the future-ready workforce, right? So VMware, we believe you need a few different things to enable a future-ready workforce. One component that can help is Horizon VDI, obviously, whether you're looking into on-premise or a cloud solution or a hybrid solution. Different features there to help you do that, give you a persistent desktop look and feel on a non-persistent pool of desktops. So everybody's getting a unique experience. VMware software-defined data center and intrinsic security, some of our components to help with that, including newly acquired Carbon Black for security. We've got several other components here to help you to silo out your data center and help with management as well. And then Workspace ONE, which will have a future webinar on both Workspace ONE and the software-defined data center coming up in the next few weeks. Workspace ONE being our endpoint management and security solution, managing any endpoint and delivering applications on a single sign-on basis to end users, despite whatever device they have, doesn't matter the device or operating system. Modern platform management and simplicity in the speed, right? We need to simplify, go to work, right? Get to work, right? Simplified day two management, and what that means is being able to be quick and agile, right? Pushing out that non-persistent pool of desktops and having that non-persistent cost model with a persistent look and feel, it just really gives you a way to optimize your resources that you already own. Instant clones, which we'll go through during the demonstration, allow you to quickly provision out desktops, virtual desktops, and applications. Application volumes or app volumes, managing your apps separately from the actual image itself, right? So it gives you a little bit more flexibility as what you can deliver application-wise on a per person basis or per group basis. And then dynamic environment manager, which is another component as well that helps give you that persistent look and feel for your end users. Just creating customized policies across your different locations. And again, we'll go into more of that as we do the demonstration here. So, with all of that said, you want to make sure to have end-to-end, security from the device to the data center, right? No endpoint data loss, securely enabling BYO devices if that's, a need in the future. I personally, use my iPhone and personal devices every single day with Workspace ONE in conjunction with Horizon, I'm able to jump from one device to the next without really any interruption at all. So then there's centralized patching, and then trusted images every time, being able to push out clones or instant clones quickly and easily. So we're extending that digital workspace and different applications out to all your groups that you have within your municipality or that you have within your state and local government organization, right? So whether it's a knowledge worker, task worker, power user, whether it's higher ed, finance, whatever it may be, even the healthcare organizations, of course, we use different protocols to allow for flexibility as to how you access your virtual desktop or virtual applications. Give you a rich user experience with those employees that might need graphic intensive applications. And then optimization for communications, meaning, we can hook in with Microsoft Teams or Zoom or Cisco WebEx and really provide, a good working situation for employees that are remote. Optimize remote experience, what I was just talking about, unified communications and collaborations tools. improving productivity. I'm sure that we're all zoomed to death at this point, or been on the call-in webinar way too many times so far. But it's probably not going away, at least not anytime soon. So it's all something we have to get along with and make sure it works for our employees in our environment. And coming close to the end here, VMware named the leader in the 2019 and 2020 IDC MarketScape Worldwide Virtual Client Computing Vendor Assessment. So really this means, in a period of a 3 to 5 year time frame, all the customers that were surveyed, we either met or exceeded their expectations and requirements for their virtual desktop infrastructure. And our market share is quite large as well. So great to be recognized as a MarketScape Worldwide Leader. All right, so some of our offerings, and we can go through these again at some other time if anybody has any one-off questions, but we offer a few different things. Horizon applications or Horizon apps, which is just delivering virtualized applications to a single sign-on intelligence hub, right, for all your employees to use. So if you don't necessarily need a full virtual desktop setup for your employees, that's an option there. Desktops and applications, so or 3 different flavors from standard, advanced to enterprise. Desktops and apps, Horizon Universal applications, and Horizon Universal subscription licensing. So essentially with Horizon Universal subscription licensing, it is a subscription-based license, but you have the ability or the flexibility to interchange those licenses between a cloud environment, so maybe like a Horizon on Azure, to an on-premise environment and vice versa, right? So it just gives you some flexibility there if maybe that's something that you would need in the future. We offer on-premise and perpetual pricing. And then again, for hybrid and multi-cloud, we offer that subscription-based universal license. So some next steps here, we can offer, some assistance with trials and giving you different resources, enabling you to access the tool and give it a POC or a proper POC. We got the tech zone here, which we can send this information out a little bit later. But it just gives you a good overview of Horizon, maybe gives you some different hands-on labs that you're able to complete there to kind of just test your ability with VDI and kind of get the workflows down, the different workflows down as far as the procedures and policies that need to be created when configuring your environment. And, you can learn about control plane services here. Got a few different documents that'll get you there. And then get hands-on with our test drive, something I can invite you to kind of give you the full user experience from a VDI standpoint, not only an end-user experience, but from a management perspective, it's a fully configured environment that you can get access and play around with if that's something that you'd like to do. And again, I mentioned hands-on labs as well. Some of those assessments and activities that'll help you get familiar with Horizon. But that's it for the PowerPoint. I hope I didn't bore everybody to death with that PowerPoint. It's going to get a lot more exciting from here, I promise. We got Michael coming up next, Mike coming up next to give the Horizon demo. And then after that, we'll have some fun and cool trivia. We tried it out yesterday. It was pretty interactive and pretty cool. And I believe there's some prizes associated there as well. But thanks everybody for your time. And I'm going to go ahead and close out my screen here so that I can let Mike share his. But again, thanks everybody. Hope that wasn't too painful, and we'll continue rolling here.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it. Hey everyone, this is Mike Felicissimo. So like Tyler was saying, I'm going to take care of the Horizon demo portion. So just to give you a quick overview of what I'm going to go into, I'll start with just a little bit of architecture. The reason for that is just to showcase a little bit, not only just the infrastructure components, but I'm going to detail a little bit more on what Tyler was talking about. Some of the components being like instant clones, app volumes, and dynamic environment manager. Those 3 together are what we call the just-in-time management platform, or JUMP. So I'll make sure to showcase all of that. Tyler, if you wouldn't mind stop sharing, so then I'll go ahead and throw up my architecture page. Perfect, thank you. Okay. And just gotta find it. Okay, there we go. All right, so here's just a quick overview, right, on the architecture for a Horizon deployment. So I'll just go through this quickly, right? First thing that you would, of course, take a look at, this is from an on-premises standpoint, right? Just a full Horizon 7, Horizon 8. You're going to start with your vCenter server and your vSphere host down here, right? So if you do go with Horizon, of course, you will get vSphere for desktop included, so you don't have to buy additional licensing, right? You'd get the ESXi hypervisor loaded onto the bare metal, and then from there you'd be able to configure Horizon. First thing that you would configure from a Horizon standpoint are going to be the connection server or connection servers. So this is essentially the connection broker, right? Brains of the operation, going to facilitate the connection between the user and their desktop or applications. You can have two of these brought up in an active-passive or active-active scenario, you know, for just for DR, HA, right, just in case maybe something happens to one, you know, you can have load balancing between the two of them. As far as connecting to them, of course, you can do an internal connection, but if you want to go external, which is what we see most commonly, especially with the work from home scenarios, is just having users connect through what's called the Unified Access Gateway. It's our Security Edge Gateway appliance. And in this configuration, we have it set up as an external UAG, which is what we like to abbreviate it as. So you can have it set up so your users can connect through the internet securely via SSL encrypted connection to the Unified Access Gateway. It'll then connect to the Horizon server, authentication will happen, right? And then they will be sent directly to their desktop or application from there. Now, just wanted to show that just so we're familiar with everything. The next half of this infrastructure slide is going to be on that just-in-time management platform that I was talking about. So there's really three portions of it, right? So there's the instant clones, there's app volumes, and it says right here, User Environment Manager. We recently underwent a name change and it's now called Dynamic Environment Manager. I'm gonna refer to it as DEM for short. So basically what these three do together is what Tyler was saying previously. It gives their users a persistent look and feel to a non-persistent desktop. So the end users, right, as far as they know, as far as the desktop knows, right, it's going to function like it's a persistent desktop. It's the same one every time that the user's going to log into, right? They can have any personalizations on Windows settings, application settings, all the way down to their desktop background if you want them to have that. But on the administrative side, you're going to be able to do things like manage a single image for all of your use cases, manage a single copy of an application, and have automatic transference of user deltas and customizations between non-persistent desktops, which also gives you more storage savings and gives you more security in the sense that you're not going to have persistent desktops laying around for any sort of malware to hang on to. So the first portion of the just-in-time management platform is going to be the instant clones. So instant clones are just like any other VM that are created, right? The difference is going to be that when you create an instant clone pool, the first thing that's going to happen is a parent VM is going to be created. This parent VM is going to be based off of that single golden image. And what it allows you to do is, let's say just for simplicity's sake, there's 10 users, right? Maybe you make a pool of 11 for an N+1 scenario. So you can set it so these desktops aren't actually created at any point in the day, and you can have them created on demand as a user is logging into it. Basically what happens is, let's say a user, right, from their client up here, connects over the internet, hits the UAG, goes through the connection server, and they say, okay, let's give them a desktop. What's going to happen is that parent VM is going to do what's called a VM fork. It's going to fork a live replica of that golden image, and the child of that is what's called an instant clone. We're able to do this quickly, right, as the name instant clone suggests, at a rate of about 1 desktop per second. So you can have a desktop created on demand as a user is requesting it in about a second, So you don't have to have any desktops sitting online beforehand, right? Showing up storage, so you get a lot of storage savings there. It's non-persistent, so it's going to be a lot more secure in the sense that when a user logs out, it'll be destroyed every time. And so it'll just be a lot quicker and a lot easier of a process. So that's the desktop portion. Let's imagine, right, along this journey, right, we've had the user request the desktop. They're now logging into that instant clone desktop, and that's where the next portion of Jump comes into play, which is the app volumes manager. So app volumes basically is a way that you can containerize and divorce the applications from the golden image. It's basically what allows you to have a single golden image and then instead just manage what we call app stacks. An app stack is just a VMDK file that sits on a data store of your choosing, and it just contains the program files for an application. Let's say just these ones up here, maybe Office products, Office Suite products, and Adobe Reader or something like that. It's going to contain all of those files and sit on that VMDK file ready for a user to log into an instant clone. So now when a user is logging in, right, the whole login process is happening, the app volumes agent running on that desktop is going to reach out to the manager and say, okay, I am X user and I need the applications that are assigned to that user. The app volumes manager is going to issue a mount command from that app stack over to the instant clone. It's going to place all the metadata, all the registry entries, everything like that on that desktop, so it will behave and function as if it's natively installed, when in reality, the actual program files are going to be sitting on that app stack instead. The actual program data file is going to just move transactionally as the user uses it. Now, the nice part about it is that app stack, right, let's say that contains Office products and an Adobe Reader, can be referenced up to 2,000 times by different users. So rather, let's say, right, you hit that limit and you have 2,000 users need to connect for whatever reason. Rather than have 2,000 copies of that application sitting on 2,000 desktops, you have instantly created desktops that are destroyed, referencing a single copy of that application on that app stack. A lot of storage savings there and a lot less headache since you only have to manage that application in a single area. Additionally for that, right, it's read-only, so none of the users can make changes or mess up the application for any of the other users. Now, when they've logged in, right, those applications are going to be showing, as installed for the user. They'll be able to use them normally. And finally, comes in the last portion, which is Dynamic Environment Manager. Functions similarly to a roaming user profile, but it just has a lot more features than a traditional roaming user profile does. Basically takes any of the user deltas or customizations, right? So maybe they change the font in Word, or maybe the size of the window, or some sort of configuration, maybe a registry entry. The DEM agent on the desktop is going to detect any of those, capture them in plain text, and persist them in a lightweight user profile that's going to just reapply to the next instant clone that they log into. So since it's going to be captured in plain text, it's a lot more lightweight. We're talking kilobytes and megabytes versus our traditional bulky roaming user profile that could be megabytes or gigabytes in size. A lot more lightweight, a lot easier to manage, and again, just gives that persistent look and feel. So all of those together, right, the user logs in, they get their instantly created desktop, the app volumes app stack attached so they can use the apps, and any of the user deltas and customizations has now been applied over it, so they have that persistent look and feel desktop. But as you know, right, of course, on the back end, they have the non-persistent desktop experience for the IT admin to manage. So that's just a quick overview on the just-in-time management platform. I'll go ahead and move over here just into the demo, and I'm just going to showcase the last two portions of what I was talking about, which is app volumes and dynamic environment manager. So we're already logged in here, right? We have an instant clone desktop. For the purposes of this demo, we have it set so the actual app stack does not attach at login. Normally, of course, in a production scenario, you would have it automatically attached, but just to show you, right, of course, I'm going to attach it manually. So if we're here in programs and features, I'll go ahead and refresh here, right? We have 20 programs installed. I'll go ahead and click enable lots of apps, the app volumes agent is going to start issuing that mount command, right? Attaching the VMDK file over to this desktop, right? Everything that it's doing is placing all of the metadata in the proper locations, file paths, things like that, registry files, registry entries. And so the actual desktop thinks and behaves as if it's natively installed. As you can see back here, all of these applications have popped up that were on the app stack. And if we just refresh here on the desktop, we suddenly have 59 programs currently installed. Right, so it's just that easy, right? It attached everything I was telling you about. If we go to something like TeamViewer, for example, and click open, we give that just a second. It'll go ahead and open normally, right? I can use it as if it's a natively installed application. We'll go ahead and exit out of here. And if we even go over here and check on the properties for this TeamViewer application, right, it says program files 86 TeamViewer, right? So as far as the desktop and the user are concerned, it's natively installed. So now the last portion I just want to show you is just a little bit on the features of Dynamic Environment Manager. You can mainly split Dynamic Environment Manager into two parts. First part being personalization, and the second part being the user and computer environment. That's going to be managing GPO-based resources. So like I was saying before, Dynamic Environment Manager is going to essentially be listening to copy any configurations or user deltas. So let's say Google Chrome, for example. You can also set manual configurations as well if you need to do that for any applications. So, you know, maybe we have it set to include this registry tree, right? Maybe include this portion of the local app data folder. You can also set exclusions, right? So maybe exclude the cache or anything with a temp file extension. The nice part about this too is, right, you can set them manually. You can have them dynamically created and deleted, right, as the user, you know, creates and deletes them based on their configurations. But what we can also do is over here in conditions. So if, say, maybe you have two different departments, right? Maybe they have two different use cases for Google Chrome. You can go over here and set conditions on things like registry entries or things like that that say, okay, maybe they're coming from a certain endpoint. Maybe it's a certain day of the week, certain IP address. Maybe they have a certain group membership in AD, something like that. You can add or revoke these different configurations based on these conditions. And the nice part about that too is if we go over here into user environment, you can see we have GPO-based resources, right, like drive mappings, folder redirection, printer mappings, things like that. We can go into it and apply those very same conditions upon it. So, you know, you could grant or revoke access to any of these resources based on these conditions that you set. And like I was saying, right, these are going to all be captured in plain text and are going to persist regardless of, you know, a non-persistent desktop. So it just makes it a lot easier to manage a VDI environment using the three of these together. So that was just a brief overview. I wanted to, you know, keep it a little bit short, just you know, to not go a little too bit over on time. But that's the end of the demo, at least from my side. Tyler, do we want to go into Q&A on that, or are we going into trivia next? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so we're going to head into a quick trivia round to kind of break it up here, and
Okay.
then Mike, at the end, we'll hold on for any questions that they might have, or if they think of any after the webinar is over, we can definitely look to answer those. But yeah, let's go ahead and give it over to Tori with trivia.
All right, thanks guys. That was great. I really appreciate it. Hello everyone. I'm going to share my screen here. Give me 1 second. All right. Oh, hold on. Let's go back one. There we go. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Tim, give me a nod. Helen, thanks. All right. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and direct you all really quickly to please go to the website that is listed there, polev.com/advisext814 on your smartphone or laptop, because this is going to be how we keep score on this whole thing and how we know who comes in first. to win our wonderful Advisex Yeti mug. I know, fancy, right? Like, just so we all see. All right. Go ahead and go to the next slide. I feel like that's enough time here. All right, oh yes, and I feel like there's one other rule here. You will have 20 seconds to answer each question. They're all multiple choice. I feel like they're relatively easy, so you should probably be able to get it within the 20 seconds, but let me know. I can't really give you more time, but let me know still. Here we go. Question number 1. Which team scored the fewest points in SEC championship game history twice? I'm going to go to the multiple choice. Here we go. Which team scored the fewest points in SEC championship game history twice? A, Arkansas, B, Auburn, C, Florida, or D, Georgia? I have 3 results in, 2, 3, 4. I was like, how did it go down? All right, time is up, everyone. I had 4 people answer that question, and we are going to see on our leaderboard. Arkansas was the correct answer, everyone. All right, Mike F., good job. All right, let's move on to the next one here. The SEC was founded in December 1932 when 13 schools left which other conference? Was it A, the Atlantic Conference, B, the Southern Conference, C, the Good Old Boys, or D, Roy's Drinking and Throwing Club? Ooh, I'm feeling D right now, probably is your best guess. We have 5 results in. Time's up, here we go. The correct answer was B, the Southern Conference. All right, Mike, you're coming in hot with this. I'm feeling like you might win this. There's still time though, everyone. Don't be discouraged. There is still time. And I'm sorry, guest 555. We're gonna get you up there on the leaderboard here. Next question. In 70 seasons of the SEC, which was the only school that failed to win a SEC title? Was it A, Mississippi State, B, Kentucky, C, Vanderbilt, or D, Mississippi? We have 9 seconds left on the clock. All right, time is up, everyone. Let's see what our correct answer is. It is Vanderbilt, everybody. Vanderbilt was the correct answer to that question. All right, we can check out our leaderboard here. Mike F. still in first. Scott Thomas coming in right behind him. John Sanders under that, and Eric West. Tyler at 1,000. Here we go. Okay. We're going to get into our VMware questions here, everyone. So what are some key benefits that Horizon offers? Is it A, hybrid delivery management and scale, modern platform for simplicity and speed, C, end-to-end user security from a trusted partner, or D, all of the above? We already got six results in. All right, time is up. D, all of the above. Wow, we are all so smart. Look at that. There we are, guest 555. You got some points there now. This is good. All right, let's move on. This is our final question, everyone. So really, really use your smarts here, okay? What happens if I'm using an earlier version of Horizon, like VMware Horizon View? Is it A, all customers with a valid VMware SNS contract are eligible to upgrade to the latest version of Horizon at no cost? B, too bad, so sad. C, it will cost an arm and a leg. Or D, you lose your Netflix privileges. We have 6 results in. I hope you guys got this right. All right. Oh, yeah. See, losing your Netflix privileges. It was really a toss-up. I know. All right, there is the final, everyone. Congratulations to everyone that was playing. Mike F, I believe that's Michael that just did our presentation. You are the winner of this trivia game, obviously. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
It actually was not me.
Oh,
It was
was it?
the other Mike.
Is there another mic? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
As much
would
as I'd like to claim first place.
Right? No, I was going to say, this is a good prize to have to claim. So Mike Fawbush, congratulations. I believe you are the winner of this lovely Advisex Yeti mug. I know you all were forced to enter your address while registering. I will send this on to the address that was used while registering. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hand it on over now to Mr. Joe Clark. I think my screen stopped sharing.
All right, awesome, and thanks, Tori. It would embarrass you if you knew that I was guest 555, and I was actually trying really hard on all of those college football questions.
It really actually doesn't
I'm not
surprise
good
me,
at college
though.
football.
I feel like I've seen your trivia skills before, and that does not surprise me.
Yeah, it's not surprising. I'm not the best with the college football, but I do have quite the experience. So I did get the 2 questions about Horizon right. So apparently I can keep my VCDX then. So,
Oh, good.
So that's good. All right, so thanks very much. And definitely thanks to Michael and Tyler previously for running through the demo and the once over. My job for today is to talk about some outcomes that we've had with VMware Horizon, real live customer stories that we've been involved in and seen a lot of cool things. So 1 second, now we'll get that shared out and we will rock and roll.
I did just
All
get
right.
Joe, I'm sorry to interrupt. I did just get a question from Eric West here. I don't know if anybody would like to answer it. Currently has Horizon 7.12 environment with 2 connection servers and a composer. When he upgrades to 8 in 2006, does he understand that he no longer needs the composer?
Hey, so this is Mike. I do actually need a little bit more information for that. So it depends upon, right? Do you go with instant clones, right? Do you stay with composer, right? Is with linked clones. So that it would depend upon what do you want to go with. Do you want to stick with linked clones or do you want to move to instant clones? That would be what I need to know.
All right, I'll give him a minute to see if he says anything about that. But Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, sure thing. And yeah, and just like was mentioned earlier, right, instant clones is definitely the trajectory and the way that VMware is going from a trajectory perspective. So if you can take the opportunity when you're moving from 7 to 8 to move to instant clones, it just removes another one of those databases, right, that you don't have to manage or worry about, right? So getting Composer out of the equation simplifies it. And wherever possible, I love design simplicity in environments. And so my name's Joe Clark. I'm our Director of Cloud Architecture here at Advisex, and I'm a double VCDX. So that's kind of the highest tier of certification that VMware has for expertise. And the 2 that I hold are in data center virtualization and desktop management and mobility. And today we'll be talking to you about, some of those outcomes as I was mentioning earlier. So I wanted to start with just a quick definition. And can I get a thumbs up? By the way, Tori, you're seeing slides okay, right? Everything's looking all right? Okay, cool. So, the definition of digital workspace really, it's more of an industry term now, right? It basically means a way for us to design, deliver, and manage applications, data, and desktops. And it basically says, from a philosophy standpoint, we care less about the device that you're using. We care more about the fact that we have the governance and controls in there while allowing the maximum amount of flexibility. And the way that at Advisex, we've built our, a solution architecture that revolves around digital workspace. Typically, we've got 2 different sides, right? We've got devices that people hold in their hands, and we've got hybrid infrastructure, right? As we build that forward, we've got on the hybrid infrastructure side, virtual desktops, hosted apps, maybe some SaaS applications. And then on the device, either the laptop or the mobile device, we've got sorts of local applications that we're running or web pages that we're visiting. From a unified delivery standpoint, we want to be able to deliver all those applications to a particular endpoint in a seamless fashion. And then from a management perspective, we also want to be able to manage those end user devices in a holistic fashion. You wrap that with unified security, operations, and management, And what you end up with is that whole picture of everything that we need to actually deliver a digital workspace to our end users. And today, what we're talking about is this picture right here, right? What's highlighted in yellow is sort of what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about VMware Horizon, which allows us to have a unified delivery method of desktops, applications, and the infrastructure that's necessary to go underneath it. So with that, I kind of wanted to talk just briefly about a couple different real outcomes that we've had at Advisex partnering with VMware to deliver real outcomes for folks leveraging VMware Horizon. The first was a local school district in Eastern Pennsylvania that needed help planning for a VDI environment. The primary driver in this particular case was they cleaned out schoolrooms a bunch, and every single summer they would clean out the schoolrooms and have to unplug and replug every computer, which led to tickets every time school started for, basically out several months because they had a limited number of folks that they could actually employ. So what we did is we came to the table and we said, hey, let's scope, design, and build this environment so that we can, use a much simpler endpoint. So we got them sort of an all-in-one zero client and said, look, like all you gotta do is basically plug in like mouse, keyboard, network, done. And from that perspective, it allowed them to turn over those classrooms a lot easier, and we were able to expand that out in the future. So one of the really cool things about this one was we enabled their staff to basically, have an incremental change to the number of desktop deployments, reimages, and classroom resetups that their existing field staff could do in that environment, right? So we saw they had 10 field technicians to manage a bunch of different schools, and we saw, check that out. I mean, that's amazing. That's a real tangible benefit that they saw and felt and understood, that they didn't have to go and reimage a machine out somewhere. They could literally just have them in a closet and say, go ahead and pull one of those other ones out. If that other one fails, just put it there and everything will keep working without a trip even to the school. It was a really big game changer for them from that perspective. And I'm gonna cut back over here to the text real quick. I saw somebody maybe was asking a question in the chat here. Oh, Michael was just updating us on the instant clones available, right? So instant clones are available on every version of Horizon 8. That's right. So you don't need to upgrade anything. It used to be that instant clones was a feature in higher versions of the software, but that has since changed, right? So good call, Michael. Appreciate it. All right. So another customer that we have experience working with was a local county government that needed basically a unified method of enabling remote work with less complexity than VPN with better security. And what they found was when they sent everybody home, particularly as it pertained to COVID, they said, gosh, this is really, really hard to actually manage the access into our environment and keep track of who's actually using it on devices that they're supposed to be using. And so, and they also needed the ability to say, we've got applications that are installed on several computers that people have to come into the office physically to use. And it presented this real conundrum where they said, gosh, if we have to dictate that someone comes in, but then there's laws right now that say that, hey, like, you don't have to come in. It was sort of a standoff. And, it basically got to a position where we said, well, let's make some of these applications available in a virtual desktop environment. You can track, times connected. So there was tracking around that. And for them, it brought better application availability. It got multiple methods of getting the applications out to the folks that needed to use them. And it made it more secure and at the same time more flexible, right? All they needed was a web browser. They didn't need to take their work laptop home. They just needed a web browser to get in, like Michael was talking about, through those access gateways from the outside. Very straightforward, just going to a web page, typing in their username and password, and getting straight through, having, just a great end user experience there. Another one of the use cases that it was a recent one was another local area school district that had a unique challenge where they said, you know what we need to do? We actually need to deliver a bunch of high-end graphics applications to our students because they're high school, and they said we need to enable this kind of teaching that we were going to be doing in our lab, but now with COVID we weren't able to do this. So they came to Advisex and said, well, yeah, we can certainly do this. And we would be remiss to say, like, the best way to do this possible is going to be with VMware, leveraging vGPU technology from NVIDIA. So, they made a decision between, hey, either we got to buy a bunch of high-end laptops and mail them out, or we could actually make a really cool lab environment that could be repurposed when we come back and can also enable remote learning at the present. So We designed a performant, appropriately sized cluster for 300 concurrent users of all these applications, including graphics cards, pricing for all the hardware, software, and services to go live with students. And we helped with a shoulder-to-shoulder design and deploy implementation service. And from a security perspective, for them, it was just a no-brainer, right? There was a faster time to known good states because students destroy operating systems. They beat up desktops. Everybody knows the script kiddies, and YouTube has enabled just a bunch of very rapid access to malicious behavior if it's something that someone wants to go down that path with. From a VDI desktop perspective, we found that also it's well managed as opposed to scattered, barely turned on lab environments that need either pixie booting or some form of complex management system to power them on and manage them. And then also because VDI desktops are in the managed data center, all the normal network and traffic filtering rules are in place. So they understood, hey, our lab environment, if people are connecting in from the outside, all the traffic rules that are normally in place for school are still in place right now. So we don't have to worry about remote management of devices. No VPN was required for this, of course, and patch management inside of a VDI, especially with instant clone technology, enables super fast response, the ability to respond to the event of a zero-day vulnerability and say, hey, how fast can I patch my Windows desktops, right? And then if a physical machine was compromised, we said, hey, this can also be a way that you can have one of those end users leverage the virtual desktop from any computer until that situation is handled. So super great. So with this particular customer, we were able to scope, design, bring up, and deploy to prod with end-to-end project management for this customer. We also leveraged VMware Horizon, VMware Virtual SAN, NVIDIA GPUs for a low-cost, high-throughput environment so that they could say, hey, we had the price to performance tuned exactly right for this 300-user environment, and it was just fantastic. And obviously, the key point here was they engaged late in the game. And from a services and delivery perspective, Advisex was able to go from, basically 1 month out, having gear hit the dock, being ready to go for school before school came into play. So just, another great win for that customer of saying like, hey, we weren't familiar with how to stand all this up and get this working. And we were able to not only get it up and working, but do it shoulder to shoulder with them so that they understood how to maintain and manage it moving forward. There's been a number of different other environments that we've worked with, a lot of healthcare, a lot of finance, other school districts that we've worked with. And from that perspective, there's just been a ton from Advisex that we've seen and partnered with VMware on. And, from museums, retail, healthcare systems, engineering, government schools, all over the place. No matter what that was, we were able to come into it and say, like, let's address the problem. Let's understand what problem we're trying to solve for here and really enable a positive end user experience, especially in a time where things are getting really, really difficult to say, hey, we're trying to satisfy the ability for folks to get work done and be flexible. And, with that, honestly, why Advisex with VMware? And the short answer is Advisex has been a VMware partner since 2007. We love VMware. They are one of our strategic partners. And from that perspective, we do bring deep technology expertise to the table. So like I was mentioning, VMware Horizon is awesome. And we also brought to the table, hey, you need infrastructure skills to back that up. We can, basically roll along with that. We have 4 out of 5 of the master service competencies that are available, which basically means, we've got the top tier partner certifications and says, hey, our services folks are absolutely top notch and certified, to the highest level in some cases. And VMware was even nice enough to put my ugly mug on their page, which, I fought them tooth and nail on that, but they went ahead with it anyway. VMware also gave us the nod from a year perspective and said, hey, Digital Workspace Partner of the Year 2007, Professional Services Global Innovation Award in 2016. And then also, we are invited to VMware's PAC, which is their Partner Advisory Board, the Partner Advisory Council, rather. And we are invited not because of our size at Advisex, but rather because of the quality of our services, delivery, and pre-sales technical expertise. And when we add alignment with our management teams from a VMware and Advisex perspective, it's a match made in heaven, and we absolutely love being a part of that partnership. And we provide definitely valuable feedback to VMware as well. We're a part of their PTAB program where we go and we actually meet with product managers and give feedback on features that we're seeing in new versions of products. So there were several things that I actually gave feedback to that we're seeing in Horizon 8 now as a result of some of the management and PTAB groups that we're a part of. So with that, that's pretty much all I had for today to talk through some real world experiences. but I am happy to address any of the questions that you all might have as a part of this, and certainly happy to address any questions along with Michael and Tyler here on the phone. So thank you very much for the time and for your attention while we're sort of going through some of these wins that we've had with VMware Horizon.
That's a great job.
And I'll hand it back to Tim. Go ahead, Tim.
Thank you all. So for Michael, Tyler, Helen, Tori, and I, we appreciate all of y'all spending some time with us. Please reach out to us, whoever invited you. If there's additional questions or if there's scenarios that you'd like us to run through with you, if you'd like help designing or architecting a solution, or even if you're just trying to put together budgetary figures for 2021, we're happy to help you whatever way we can. Like Joe said, we've got a long history of working with VMware and work hand in hand with the team really well. So Helen, Tyler, you guys have anything to add?
No, certainly appreciate the time. Absolutely appreciate the time. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, I would just say, yeah, same thing. Thank you everyone for joining. And yeah, please feel free if I was one who invited you to, or either way, to reach out to me and we can schedule some individual time with everyone or with anyone.
We appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Feel free to reach out with questions.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you all.